of a sudden the story of CalPers in Eagle, Idaho has blown up, right? You have the LA Times writing on it. Then Fox Digital picks up on it. Then, I looked it up this morning because I found out you were going to be able to come in, super pumped, look it up. All of a sudden you have like the Daily Mail UK, and they're just grifters, right? They're just grabbing whatever they can. But it has become this really popular thing to talk about with retired people from, let's say, that are collecting CalPERS pension, moving to Eagle, Idaho. Now, overwhelmingly, the majority of that money stays in California. It's about 85% of the CalPERS money stays in California. And then after that, the last remaining roughly 15% gets distributed across the United States or world, wherever. But the greatest recipient, the location of all of the rest of the 15% happens to be Eagle, Idaho, of all places.
Crazy, isn't it?
Crazy stuff. So talk to me about this, because I've spoken, like, I've never hung out with you outside of these conversations, but every time I've spoken to you, I'm like, reasonable guy, right? And I was really bothered by that LA Times article because, again, I don't like legacy media. I don't like that they had an interview with you and they took like 4 or 5 sentences out of it, little short things you said, and then formed this kind of message using your words. Talk to me about what you think, what you actually think about, and that's not emphasizing you don't actually think what you said. Okay, I'm not trying to lead you.
Right.
Talk to me about this at length, because what came up, what a lot of people were saying is essentially that it made you look like you were crapping on California people. I'm like, this is not a fair article. I mean, you're from California. It's like, this is not reality. It came off really hard on law enforcement and public service people that have pensions. Like all kinds of problems. Like, this is just goofy. So talk to me.
Yeah. So CalPERS is more than just police and fire, right?
Yes,
Public
of course,
safety.
of course.
Okay. So it didn't have to do. So what happens is LA Times actually flies out to Eagle, Idaho and wants to meet with me to do an article on this coming here.
LA Times. And like they have nothing else to report on. Jesus, man.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
But this great guy who wrote the article, had a good conversation with him, really, comes out here and goes, oh my gosh, this place is unbelievable.
It's like, turn around and go home, LA Times guy.
Yeah, exactly. But actually, I think he was more on the better side of the LA Times. So he comes out and talk with him, and we talk about CalPERS and everything else that's coming here. And of course, gosh, the people that have moved here from California, so many of them have been great. But what I got into with the conversation with him over time was the fact that how many of those folks come here, though, and they start to talk to me about the specifics of things. And I have to go, wait a minute, you just left that state because that stuff was implemented 20 years ago.
Okay.
And you don't see that happening here. Why do you want to bring that here?
Okay, what is that? Because I read that. I'm like, wait, what is this? Because I'm very much like, I love it here. I don't want it to change 100%. So like, what are those things? Because in the article, they portray you as like, again, crapping on California people, which I didn't feel was accurate at all. And then essentially saying like the California conservatives are not real conservatives and they're asking for these things. Like, what are the things that people are coming to you saying we want that happened to go into California 20 years ago that kind of made it the wasteland it is?
Yeah. So there's a few things over here. So I'll talk about some of the individual things that they've done, but then also what we've even seen in the politics in the last election that kind of is happening.
Sure.
So you go towards, I get all the time, why don't you hire more people to pick up the trash along the highway? Why? I'm like, well, here is what you do. Here is you get your church group, you get your kids, friends, you get your neighborhood, you get your, whatever, baseball team.
Sure.
And you go out
civic
and you do
participation.
Exactly.
Right.
And you do it. And they start to go, oh my God, I didn't even think of it. But see, that is government doing for you. I had during this election, I had a number of retired police officers going, I would pay $250, $300 more a year to get more police into Eagle. We don't need more police right now. We will in the future, but our officers and the data is not showing we need it. So here we're going down that same route of let's just keep adding to government, add more money, add more taxes. And if you talk to people, it's kind of funny. After 2019 election, when I got elected, I sat down with one of my biggest supporters, and he sat down and he goes, Jason, I'm not really as conservative as, my daughter who really did a lot for you and stuff. And he goes, I would have stayed in California if it wasn't for, the price of gas. And I'm like, well, you know why the price of gas is the way it is because of the policies in California.
Right.
You know, yeah, but it was really the property taxes too. Do you know why the property taxes are the way they are in California? It's because of the policies.
Right, and energy and things. If I may, just real fast, because there are a lot of things I want to make sure we hit them as we go. California is not known to have a bloated budget because it is adding superfluous law enforcement agents. Right,
Well,
like Oakland,
No.
which is a shithole, is like under the legal limit.
No, you're wrong.
Oh.
What they did is back 20, 25 years ago, the Democrats were supporting all of the police officers and all the public safety, under the public safety. They balloon the budgets, and then they come back and they go, oh no, defund the police. Did they give any tax money back to any of the people in California when they defunded the police? No, they took that money and they shifted it into other government programs. That is what they do with it.
Sure,
They
but-
get you under public safety to think, oh, we're never going to go against the police or the fire. We can't. That, you know, and trust me, the boots on the ground, the guys, those are the most important people we have in our community, right? We do.
Sure.
But it's not them that are causing this problem. It's the bigger things. It's the unions. And what they do is they balloon it. They balloon it. They balloon it. Then the Democrats will go and they'll start attacking and attacking and attacking. And then they shift that money away over into all these other programs that now have, you know, supporting stuff for the homeless. We're giving needles out. We're doing all these. That's what they end up doing with the money. Now, the police end up getting more money, but the money never went back to the people. It just got shifted away because they've already taken it from the taxpayers. And so the taxpayers are going, oh, well, I already pay it already, right? You look at all those things that happened with defund the police. They never gave any money back to the taxpayers. They shifted that public safety money to other areas in government. And that is what I'm afraid is going to happen here. We keep doing it under the auspice. I'm telling you right now, if we had crime and we had, you know, a bunch of officers that were running from place to place and, oh my God, they were taking 40 calls a day and all over the place, we'd be adding more officers. But right now we're doing it just to do it, just because something might happen. But what's going to happen is that money is going to be transferred into something else. And that's what I don't want to see happen here.
So you think that what will happen is we will unnecessarily increase law enforcement, and then there will be a sleight of hand at some point in the future that will pillage that budget and put it somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. And then I go back to talking about the election that happened here. You know, firefighters, great guys, right? They come. Our local Eagle Fire Union donated money to a PAC that Conservation Voters of Idaho, who are backed by Soros and others throughout the country, and other local people that want to be influential on the liberal side, into that PAC to then go and support the candidate that won. I mean, this is it's happening through public safety. I mean, they started the PAC, you know, during the runoff election. And the firefighters union, the Eagle Firefighter Union, are the ones that put their hard-earned money. These guys that come and fight the fires for us, that pay into the union for other things, their money was used to back a PAC that George Soros backs.
Wait,
what are we
sorry,
doing
back
here?
me up here. George Soros is putting money into Eagle, Idaho?
No, Conservation Voters of Idaho. Okay. Which is a PAC.
Okay.
And that PAC put money into this other PAC that also the firefighter union did.
Okay, so the
follow
firefighter
the
union.
Yeah.
Okay, so the firefighter union says, "Hey, we would like to support Brad Pike," and so they put money into a PAC that wants to support Brad Pike, and then a separate PAC that the firefighters have nothing to do with also puts money into this PAC supporting Brad Pike.
Correct.
And Soros is like
He also puts money into that PAC.
into the other PAC. Okay, so. And you're saying that indicates that the unions are essentially like in cahoots or soft associated with like the George Soros.
I'm just
of the
saying.
world.
So what I'm trying to say is, why does that happen? There's a reason why that happens. I don't, as a conservative, am not going to go and put money into something that a group that I don't agree with on every aspect of what they do. Remember, Conservation Voters of Idaho backed Laura McLean, right? They backed Diana Lasciando back during the commission thing when Ryan Davidson and Rod Beck were running. All the Democrats. They back all the Democrats. Why is this group going and doing that too? That's like me all of a sudden going, well, I'm going to go, put money into the Democrat Party because I support this one Democrat that's going to go over here and do something.
Gotcha.
I just don't think, I think it just sends the wrong message. But it's going down that same slippery slope that has happened in other states. You look at the Rocky Mountain heist, which is in Colorado, and how they turned Colorado. We're seeing that stuff happen right here in Eagle, Idaho. And so that's where it was, hey, we need to look at this stuff. And it's not just this article they wanted to make about CalPers. I wanted to make about anybody that's moving here to think about what it is you're supporting and that you're backing to make sure the future of Eagle. It's not headline information. You can't rely on that because everything that's out there, even in this article, right? They're getting people to click on it, to read it, so they get paid. They get all that stuff, right? And so they're going to make it controversial, and that's fine. That's what they do. But be informed about what's really going on. Look at everything that's happening. And once again, if you look at this on the surface, right, it doesn't look like it's a big deal. But you start looking deeper into it, and you can really see it's a problem.